All right, it's your boy Spank Dog, aka Pufferstein at YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. Let's get into it. All right, so first thing we're gonna be talking about, a couple of things today. And the first thing we're gonna talk about is Nicki Minaj appearing on Turning Point USA. So let me pull that up real quick. Little disappointed in Nicki. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's up. She's wilding. Like I said, I try to keep it not too judgmental. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the video speaks for itself. So let me get that rocking and rolling. All right, there it goes. Let me full screen it real quick. All right, yeah. So, Malcolm X, you're going to hear Malcolm X talk at the beginning. I understand what he means, but when he says they're clowns or whatever, the people that they put for us to idolize, even though people will call them false idols, they're talented. A lot of them, you know what I'm saying? Some more talented than others. But as far as them being false idols, that, yes, I understand. But listen, man, anybody could be a leader if their heart's in the right place. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's get to the video.
A little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that...
See, when he says puppets and clowns, I disagree, but that's not the focus of this commentary. So we're gonna keep going. It's granted, it could be anybody. I'm not a carbon copy of anybody. So no matter how great the person, I'm gonna have points where I agree and some where I disagree.
Have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities, and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
Remember this from Malcolm X.
Big shout out to Rick Strom and the Young Turks.
Right now, black culture is being held captive by influences, songs, and role models. I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on, I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't think that songs that are talking about like glorifying wet, female genitalia is exactly. I don't know.
I let him finish because I didn't want to cut him off right there, because that's what people are gonna, that was the thing people wanted to hear. But I don't think he was a good role model. If you want to be 100% honest, if he wants to talk about the fact that Nicki Minaj got a song called WAP, you know what I'm saying? That's what he's referring to right there. The things that he said in the past, are disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Segregation was a mistake, and it gets way worse than that one. But I'm just saying, to me, that's bad. Really, mingling is that hard? Living together in peace. We're all here on the same planet. Nobody's better than nobody. But I'm gonna let, and also at the same time, rest in peace. I don't really try to go in on the dead like that. I'll speak about a person that passed, but I won't be, disrespectful or calling them out their name. Never that.
Which one wrote that song? Which one was it?
I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but but by the way, the role models of the 1940s and 50s for Black America were completely different.
First of all, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. My bad, I forgot at the beginning.
So it is a representation issue.
Hold on a second. No, not representation. It's who do you get your art from? It's what values are they putting forward? It's the question of every day.
And remember this from Charlie.
You can't control a person's art. Not everybody's gonna be not everybody walks the straight and narrow. So are they not allowed to do art? You understand? Because they're not, straight laced. You get what I'm saying? And you could put parental advisory, all that stuff. If a kid wants to do something an adult does, it's almost impossible to make that happen. It starts with the parents. And there's times where children have the best parents in the world and things still go left. It also has to do with the individual, I do believe children should have positive role models and guidance though.
Kirk, because
dear young men, you have amazing role models like our handsome, dashing president.
Oh, she's wilding.
And
she's definitely wilding out right there. Anyway, I ain't hating. You know what I'm saying? If Donald Trump gets her excited, to each their own.
Have amazing.
But it's wild though too, because it seems like they want a white America, and for her to align herself with the people that don't want her here is crazy. That's a fact.
Role models like the assassin J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that, for boys,
people think money makes them. That's what it is. You have money for a long enough time and you think you're not the person you were before you made money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't bother me who she's attracted to. Like, it's not even about that. It's more about her shouting out certain people. And it's me just disagreeing with her. It's not something that I would get in my feelings about. But I definitely disagree with her. And she's oh man, she's wilding.
Boys, be boys.
Amen.
Be boys. It's okay. Be boys. It's nothing wrong with being a boy. How about
it's hard for me to explain this one. I don't think she should be the one talking about boys should be boys. Put it like that, simple like that. And that's me keeping it easy. You know what I'm saying? I really don't think she's the person that should be saying boys should let boys be boys. Especially while she's on a Turning Point USA stage. And that's just the truth. No hate.
about that?
Amen.
How powerful is that? How profound is that?
Amen.
Boys will be boys, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There is something wrong with that. If you're talking about boys will be boys and it's criminal, you get what I'm saying? If she's talking about something that ain't a crime, then, then I understand what she's saying. That's like saying you know what I'm saying? Kids be kids. But, what are you talking about? Be more specific. Are you talking about like it's okay for a man to get with a girl who's underage? You know what I'm saying? Because if that's where you're going, put it like this. The things that are alleged to have gone on Epstein Island and the people that were with him while he was doing it, that's beyond not okay. And there's a lot of other things going on that are not just not okay, are criminal, But like I said, we're going to let them finish.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Kirk's widow, Erica, shared the stage with none other than Nicki Minaj. It was an odd appearance. As higher learnings, Rachel Lindsay would note.
This is the least, I was not shocked to see her walking out hand in hand with Erica Kirk. I don't even know if Nicki Minaj was aware of where she was. Did you watch it?
I did.
It was one of the most awkward things. Nicki Minaj is not well. And neither is this whole movement, this TPUSA, this AmFest, whatever you want.
I agree with her 100%. She's not pulling no punches like I was.
I call it. It was a joke. Nicki Minaj goes on rants attacking Black children, but then wants to sit on that stage and preach for us Black women, allegedly, to not attack white children. But she attacks Black children. Let's not forget her unhinged tweets towards Cardi B's children. She does that, but then she's accusing us of doing that. Nobody's doing that. Your husband and brother are pedophiles.
Oh shit!
And they have been convicted,
Yeah.
and you constantly defend them. But you're sitting on stage with people who are supposed to be the party that's about.
See, when she goes, boys will be boys, that's what makes it. People think about her brothers. Like, her brothers weren't even part of the conversation. When she said boys will be boys, it makes people wonder if she's defending her brothers. Now, you know, they got punished for their crimes, I believe. So I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about people that haven't been punished for their crimes. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, certain high-powered people that get away with murder. You get what I'm saying? Well, not, you know, I don't know if it, yeah, oh man. Anyway, you know, unaliving somebody. But, you know, when people get away with things that other people can't, that's not what you call fair. Everybody that violates should get what's coming to them. You know, and it's a shame that some people get punished and other people with money or power, they don't.
Protecting children. Nicki Minaj.
And one more thing, it's about the children, period. Like, how could you not even lock in on the kids? That's the thing you really need to lock in on, the children. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to protect kids. Like, the younger, the more protective. And I believe, you know, to a certain age, that's not really the case. But, you know, a 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, you should protect them, but he or she should be able to protect themselves somewhat, you know, or, you know, it's different. When a kid is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, they're vulnerable and they can't defend themselves. You're supposed to want to defend a child if they're being attacked or in trouble, you know. Yeah, play.
She's full of contradictions. She's aligned herself with the correct party because that's a party that does that as well. They claim to be Christians and in step with Christ-like principles, yet they spew hatred, division, and lies. That's what Nicki Minaj is. She sat up there as a walking contradiction. Nothing Nicki Minaj did on that stage was of sound mind. It felt deranged at times. And I don't even know if she realizes that she's being used as a pawn or that.
I have no problem with a person wanting to get away from a poverty-stricken environment to a better place. That's logical. I do have a problem with somebody forgetting where they came from and acting like once they got money that the other people, you know, and then you defend or roll with people that wanna, you know, get rid of where you come from, the people that are at where you come from right now. They want to get rid of them, and you're aligning yourself with them. That's no go.
That she is a fool. She is propaganda, being used as propaganda to further their agenda. She won't be the first. She won't be the last. I could care less about Nicki Minaj going on it. The same way that you talk about why do they think that we care?
Nothing but facts here. Furthermore,
I will never support it. Yes. When you go against your own identity, whether that be being a woman, being a part of the LGBT
She says something very smart.
community, being Black, whatever, when you decide to actively go against your marginalized identity for personal gain, i.e., being a, you will lose every ounce of respect I have for you. There are a myriad of guesses of why Nicki Minaj is doing the things that she's doing. Yes, that's a part of it. She's absolutely getting something out of this agreement because we've never really watched her engage in politics before in this way.
Money makes people crazy, man. Yo, listen, man. If you're hearing this and you let money affect you to the point where you don't make logical decisions, you'll go against something you know in your head is wrong, and you'll still do it even though you know it's wrong. Oh yes, especially if you're straight, especially if you have enough to take care of yourself. And that's not me saying it's okay to do something if you can't take care of yourself, but it's more understandable. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing good, why would you do stuff that's horrible? And certain crimes are worse than others. She's about to say something very smart.
So yes, there is something that our ex-sister is getting out of this exchange, right? But dare I say, I do have expectations of Black folks, regardless if I know them or not. And I think the bare minimum expectation is that you at least fight for the rights of your own people. And going to a Turning Point USA event hosted by the very people who want your Black ass out of this country.
Hosted by the very people that want your Black ass out of this country. Though, I mean, like, everything she said was smart, but those were the lines right there.
Is just so heartbreaking.
I Am Jamila on TikTok put it quite well.
After yesterday's appearance with Erica Kirk at the
Big shout out to I Am Jamila on TikTok.
Turning Point conference, Nicki Minaj has lost over 6 million followers, leading her to
Oh, so listen, let me tell you something. If you think I'm wrong, well, 6 million people think you're wrong. All right. And I'm gonna tell you something. I went to do this. Even though I seen some of it, I went to do this before I seen that. Which means I was one of the 6 million before I knew there were 6 million other people that agreed with me. You know what I'm saying? And look, let me tell you something. I don't want to be on some. Listen, first of all, I don't hate Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? I think she's wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to do this YouTube channel and it's not about how I feel about you. It's about whether I think you're right or you're wrong. And then it goes further than that. It goes to the point where it's like, are you wicked? Are you evil? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if Nicki Minaj is wicked or if she thinks she's right. And still, this is my opinion, because if you be on some like, nah, that's what it is, because I say so. People look at you like you think your word is God. And I don't think that. This is what I'm just saying I feel in my heart. And what I feel in my heart is when I see her doing this, I say to myself, what is she doing? She's not the first. There's a lot of people out there. Let's hear what my man got to say, though.
Delete her socials. She started off by the gram. She is no longer on the gram. As you guys can see here, it's all just fan pages that are made. Nicki Minaj has lost over 10 million followers in the past 24 hours across all her socials.
He said 6 million. Now he said 10 million. Since I disagree with her, I hope it's 10.
Spotify numbers have gone down tremendously. People have unsaved, unliked, unfollowed every single album, single, or anything of Nicki Minaj that they have liked in the past, bringing her numbers to plummet. After comments made about the trans community, the LGBTQIA community has responded and have completely turned their backs on Nicki.
Learn Excel in 7 days and start finishing work earlier.
This course turns every lesson into quick.
Sebastian then brought up,
I don't care about your sexual preference neither. As long as you ain't a piece of crap, as long as you're a good person, that's it. That's what matters.
how she has lost millions of fans worldwide. All right, I have a few thoughts on this. The first is listen to Malcolm X, read Malcolm X. The second,
this is the homie right here. Yeah, and with the Malcolm X thing, like I said, I just disagreed with that point. Trust me, I know Malcolm X was beyond a brilliant man, but I just didn't agree with that one thing. There's entertainers out here that are so brilliant, geniuses. You know, I think he was just trying to make the point of that. You know, there's leaders, and they're not certain rappers, certain singers. They're not what you would need in a leader. I get that, but you know, he went in a little bit. But like I said, Rick Strom too, and he says it right here, Rick Strom. I echo his sentiment. Ready?
of fans worldwide. All right, I have a few thoughts on this. The first is listen to Malcolm X, read Malcolm X. The second is it's incredible that people who are fans of Nicki Minaj will remain fans after this. Do you not see what she is doing to you? Yeah, my fans are in the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah, they're there. But you know what I care more about than my fans? Feeding them to the wolves. I have seen so many TikToks where it's like, I still F with Nicki. I'm still a Barb. I'm still Team Nicki. Why? Why? And from what I have seen, there are a lot of people who will be persecuted and will have their rights taken away even more by the person that they are standing, ushering them in a way of manufacturing their own demise. Remarkable stuff. This is why stan culture is so bad and toxic. It really, really is. I don't get it. I just don't. Stan culture of politicians. You should not love a politician. Like, I get it. Like, I have my favorite.
I wouldn't blanket statement or not like there's good politicians. There's hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands. I'm not certain, but you can't tell me that there's not one politician out there that really wants to do good all the way through and through, and to generalize blanket statement every single politician, I don't agree. But like I said, it's the homie Rick Strom. Like I said, it don't matter who you are. It's going to get to a point where we don't agree. And maybe you could sway my opinion. Maybe I could sway your opinion. Or maybe we're just going to always stay believing the way we, think the way we think.
Favorite MCs, right? If they say something that's out of line, it's like, oh, that was incredibly messed up. Oh, you want to see my own demise? Yeah, I think I'm done. It's that simple. And I get that people go through hardships. I understand that.
He's right, though, too. This is all about Nicki Minaj doing something that a lot of people, especially good people, are looking at how, like, what are you doing? So, like, I might disagree with him on a point, but overall, we agree.
A lot of artists that you listen to helped you through a really difficult time or a celebratory time, and that artist reminds you of that celebratory time. Great. I understand. At the same point, how do you continue to lend your support in a way your ears and eyeballs being their revenue, their way of supporting them? And you are helping them do that while they're showing they could care so little about you. They could care so little about your rights. In my view, from what I've seen from Nicki, she has morphed into this person. We have seen the Kanye-ification, if you will, of her. But none of this is all that surprising because, as Rachel Lindsay said astutely, you have multiple pedos in her family, including her significant other. You know, we have seen how the grand old party will, in many ways, be the guardians of pedophiles party. And with the Epstein files continually, it seems, be redacted by the Trump administration.
All right, we're gonna leave it there. He's finished pretty much. We're gonna move on to the next topic. I do agree with him overall. There's certain things that I don't agree with him on, but we definitely agree that Nicki Minaj is wilding. All right. All right, so give me 1 second, people. All right, we're gonna be getting into some weird stories right now. So let me pull that up. Yeah, you know, like I said, man, she's wrong at the end of it all. That's it, period. That's how I feel. You know, there's nothing she could say to me that would make me say that was how she's giving it up is all good. You know what I'm saying? It's a no-go. You know, I expect better from people who know what it's like to be around regular people or be around poverty-stricken people. You know, about her brothers, I don't really got no comment about that. You know what I'm saying? They already being punished, and you know, you can't punish them twice. But like I said, you remember too. I don't want to go too crazy over giving people my opinion 100%. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to the next topic. All right, people. All right, people. This is about them deflecting the sun. It's called geoengineering. All right, and you know, it's supposed to be where it helps global warming, where the rays of the sun don't hit our planet to the point where it's cooking it. You get what I'm saying? But I don't trust all that stuff at all. I got a child with autism. They still don't know what caused it. You know what I'm saying? How do I know it's not geoengineering? You get what I'm saying? But I'm gonna play the video for you right now, and we're gonna get into it. Let me full screen it real quick.
I do have a lot to talk about in today's video. For example, it sounds like,
again, Merry Christmas, y'all.
They're working on Project Bluebeam over in California. And when it comes to Nuno Loureiro, there's more insight on what he was working.
Oh, I bust out the 6 hoodie. You got that. This hoodie number 6. So if you look, it's a champion hoodie, but it's not the black one that I got over there. So, and I also wore a red one. So I wore the red champion hoodie, the black champion hoodie, the navy blue champion hoodie. I wore the acid washed hoodie, the other acid washed hoodie, and I wore another one. I forget which one it is. I believe this is the 6th episode where the hoodie challenge is still going. 6 lives, 6 different hoodies. That's important to me because, you know, I had stopped doing lives for a second. So and I don't know, I just, like I said, it's easier for me to edit something, you know what I'm saying? But the hoodie challenge for me was to keep me going with the lives. So this is the 6th live. It's gonna be over an hour and a half, 2 hours. And yeah, we rocking out, man. That's it. Merry Christmas. If y'all want to come through ever, this the man cave. You know what I'm saying? This Spank Dog's man cave, this Pufferstein's channel, basement click up in here, and you are welcome. You know, as long as you official, as long as you're a good person, you welcome. Even if you ain't that, you know what I'm saying? All inclusive, man. As long as you ain't evil, you know what I'm saying? I don't even give a shit if you got a little hate in your blood, you know? You keep it cordial. Like I said, with the Nicki Minaj thing, look, I'm gonna keep it official. With the Nicki Minaj thing, right? When it comes to a person hurting a child, it's off with your head type shit. You get me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know, I didn't want it to be where I gave my opinion like that, where like it feels like I'm judging people. But man, listen, man, forget that. You know, if you mess with a child, you know, it's a green light. You already know what it is, man. You know, and I had to get that off my chest before we proceeded on. Now, like I said, you know, they got sentenced. Whatever their punishment is, they eating that right now. So, like I said, I don't got nothing to say about a person that's doing their punishment, doing their time. You know, what I'm saying is that there's a bunch of people out there doing the same type of shit, and they're getting away with it. You know, so let's get on to this. This is gonna get you a little steamed, and it's crazy. No pun intended. But they're putting stuff in the air, you know. Before it was some sort of aerosol that deflects the sun, but now they're gonna put satellites into the sky, and I believe something's gonna be released from them, and it's something that that's what I was gonna tell you guys too. All these things that you're seeing in the sky, I would believe not all of it is real. Some of these things are projections, you know, creations. And what happens is new technology could make something in the sky look like it's really there. You know, so I'll just tell you, I'm not saying everything that we see in the sky is not there, but I'm saying some of that stuff, just keep an open mind. Don't let them sell you on the alien thing like that. All right, let's get back into this.
Working on, and it's very, very interesting. And it sounds like there was another MIT scientist who is also working on something very similar, who may have met a very similar fate. But before I go ahead and get into that, I do want to go ahead and talk about this.
Hey, remember when Charlie Kirk got shot and people realized that Google Analytics has a feature you can use to see what people have searched around an event, and that someone discovered that people were searching Charlie Kirk's death before the day that he was actually shot? Remember that? And remember all of those other major events that you can also look on Google Analytics, and you can see that people were searching that same very thing before the event even happened? Well, a new one was just discovered. In the last 90 days, Israel has had a spike of 100 or more people searching the term you can see at the top, Disneyland terrorist. Here's another.
The reason I thought it was about the sun was because I seen the solar panels, but I forgot the first segment is about the Google search. This is so wild. I'm gonna rewind it. This is going back to the beginning, y'all. This is about when you do a Google search, you can do you could type in a hypothetical search and see if people have actually searched it and how many times, what location. So people looked up the hypothetical search, what it reads right there, and it's got searches, and it shouldn't, you know, especially not in a certain part of the world from that many people.
I do have a lot to talk about in today's video. For example, it sounds like they're working on Project Bluebeam over in California. And when it comes to Nuno Loureiro, there's more insight on what he was working on, and it's very, very interesting. And it sounds like there was another MIT scientist who was also working on something very similar, who may have met a very similar fate. But before I go ahead and get into that, I do want to go ahead and talk about this.
Hey, remember when Charlie Kirk got shot and people realized that Google Analytics has a feature you can use to see what people have searched around an event, and that someone discovered that people were searching Charlie Kirk's death before the day that he was actually shot? Remember that? And remember all of those other major events that you can also look on Google Analytics and you can see that people were searching that same very thing.
My man got the ill beard, right? But yeah, man, like what he's saying is so wild that they could detect that what people search. My bad to even stop it again. I want this one to play.
Before the event even happened, well, a new one was just discovered. In the last 90 days, Israel has had a spike of 100 or more people searching the term you can see at the top, Disneyland terrorist. Here's another one, 100 people or more that have searched ISIS attacks Disneyland. And here's another one, Disneyland bombing. Over 100 people have searched that in the last 90 days in the country of Israel. And here's another one, in the last 90 days by the nation of Israel, Disneyland attacks. It's awesome that they've managed to leave this tool up for people to use by Google, because it's going to be the downfall, or at least we're going to be able to disrupt a lot of these plans. Now, we may not be able to stop these things from happening, but hopefully we can maybe deter them from actually wanting to do it. If this still happens, if anything happens at Disneyland anytime in the near future, remember this video, save it, share it with others.
Yo, they should not stop that thing that they have where it counts the searches. They should definitely leave that. If Google gets rid of that, it's horrible. That is such a cool attribute.
Other people, I promise you, they're either going to not do it anymore because people have found out that the method to discovering this stuff, or it's going to happen and they're going to say, it was just a coincidence.
So I did do it myself to test it, and it is indeed still there. So yes, there have been multiple instances of certain locations searching the names of people involved in certain events, or even the events themselves prior to them happening on Google Trends. For example, one of the most popular is that the name Tyler Robinson was being heavily searched in this location about a couple weeks or even a month prior to what supposedly happened to Charlie Kirk.
Drop a comment about that. If you got a comment about Tyler Robinson being searched before the shooting, drop a comment. That's wild to me. Why would it be searched so much before it happens? That doesn't make any sense at all. There's no logical explanation for that.
Let us also not forget the book that was found on Amazon as well that detailed the events of what took place with Charlie Kirk that day prior to that day. So yeah, something fishy, very fishy, is going on with Google Trends. I also like this individual's theory that if we find this stuff ahead of time and we put it out there, it stops whatever they are doing. This is what I theorized about September 23rd and September 11th. Because when it comes to September 11th, you can see it everywhere prior to that day. You can see it in the Illuminati card game, movies, TV shows, all time.
Yo, how wild is that though? Because there's something to it. I don't care what nobody says. There is no logical explanation for 100 searches to come over a topic like that from the same exact area. You know, and 100 searches is not a lot, but still from the same place. You know, and let's say, and that's if they're not baiting people. You get what I'm saying? Like, people are crazy. I would never buy into nothing 100%, but they're baiting people. I mean, baiting people happens. So, you know, you never know if they know people are watching and they made those searches happen on purpose. But I really doubt that. That's probably the only logical explanation, and I really don't think that's the case. You know, and that option that they have on Google, they should never take it out. You know, if you want to do a search like that, then just know they're counting them. You know what I'm saying?
Types of media. And perhaps if a group of people came together and said they're going to do something on this date, maybe that would have stopped them. September 23rd was the same exact thing. We constantly saw that date all throughout media and movies, to the point people were making multiple videos saying something's going to happen on September 23rd, even a rapture. And when nothing happens, of course, we have people coming out and saying, see, nothing ever happens. But maybe by calling this stuff out ahead of time, it does indeed stop them in their...
That set of cards, I gotta get it. I gotta find that set of cards, and I gotta get it. You know, especially, come on, I cover this stuff. You know, if anybody wants to gift it to me, nah, I'm just messing around. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm gonna look on eBay. You know what I'm saying? But if anybody knows where I could get that deck of cards at, drop a comment. That deck of cards is wild. And he's right about the Simpsons, man. You know, so many people love the Simpsons. I mean, I was surprised. You know, I actually remember the first episode. I remember it aired with Married with Children, I believe. You know, and it was a Christmas episode, and there was the dog, Santa's Little Helper. And I used to watch The Simpsons every week, In Living Color, Married with Children. You know, I think I remember all those shows were around the same time. And but I stopped watching The Simpsons after a while. And the crazy thing is I could watch South Park, but I can't watch The Simpsons. And I got a lot of friends that watch The Simpsons religiously, but like, I don't know, it's just still a little too childish for me. But the whole telling the future thing, I always hear that in The Simpsons they said something and it came true.
Tracks from whatever they're doing, some sort of ritualistic game that these people have set up.
Day 1, month 3, month 6, forever. These 4 milestones represent my journey.
But what I do find interesting is that a couple months prior to these searches, for whatever reason, back on July 19th, 2025, news came out that the FBI was reminding us that they stopped a potential attack on Disneyland. What? So on April 12th, 1995, a padded envelope marked videotape with no return address landed on the desk of a Disneyland executive secretary working in the security office. The secretary was the first person to view the ominous contents of the 8-minute and 51-second video. It depicted an ominous person in rubber gloves handling unidentified vials of liquid.
It's wild, right? This is why people are off the hook.
This person took it as a threat, and they sent this videotape to the FBI. United States military troops, public health officials, and federal agents all swooped down on Disneyland that Easter weekend in anticipation of a possible attack. I've never heard of this, never heard anybody talking about this before, and it's kind of weird they're bringing this back up again 30 years later. The article goes on to say, now more than 30 years on, the FBI has released never-before-seen documents in the counterterrorism investigation relating to the videotape. But get this, because this gets even more telling. The article goes on to say the videotape that sparked the response opened with an unknown figure behind the camera filming a newspaper cutting from the Orange County Register dated April 1st, 1995. The report was headlined, "Man Charged with Spraying Irritant in Disneyland," and detailed an incident that month where a 21-year-old man allegedly sprayed a noxious substance that made 33 people sick in the Space Mountain ride. So
those of you who watch the channel would know that 33 is a significant number, you know, and I believe it's tied into the Masons, the Freemasons, but forget exactly what the number 33 stands for, but I'll look it up. Matter of fact, let me see right now. We'll do it while we live. What does the number 33 stand for? All right, guys. The number 33 signifies spiritual mastery, compassion, and divine connection, appearing in numerology as a master number for personal growth, and Freemasonry as the highest degree. Now, you see, when he says that he sees it everywhere, I believe him. it's not a coincidence that they're attaching 33 to. If I believe maybe he thinks it's tied into something, it's not maybe, and it's a coincidence. It happens, I believe, but no, some of it is he's accurate. I believe. The number 33 signifies spiritual mastery, compassion, and divine connection, appearing in numerology as a master number for personal growth, in Freemasonry as the highest degree, and across religions for divine covenants, creation, and eternal life, while also representing physical traits like vertebrae and serving as a cultural symbol in music and branding. Yeah, I've heard him talk about the number 33 a lot, and I always knew that it was tied into something, but I never actually stopped and Googled it because I had heard him say what it was, but he doesn't give the full definition. Well, there you go. I'm gonna say it one more time. The number 33 signifies spiritual mastery, compassion, and divine connection, appearing in numerology as a master number for personal growth, in Freemasonry as the highest degree, says Scottish Rite, and across religions for divine covenants, creations, and eternal life, while also representing physical traits like vertebrae and serving as a cultural symbol in music and branding. Wow. And I'll share it for you for a second even, so you guys could check it out for yourself real quick. Wild, right? All right, cool. Let's get back to that.
So yes, this individual behind this very suspicious videotape decided to do a fictitious event where 33 people just happen to get sick from this poison. I mean, I guess he just happened to pick the number 33 out of random, no meaning whatsoever. The videotape also shown a clock pointing at the number 9 and showing the date April 14th, 1995, but the video was received on April 12th. Very weird. Again, I have no idea why the FBI is bringing this back to light, an event that I don't remember many people talking about. Then a couple months later, we get these very suspicious searches on Google Trends. Again, it seems like a ritual where they want us to put 2 and 2 together, find these things, and call it out. But talking about that, take a look at this video. And
yo, it's 3:30 in the morning. Merry Christmas, everybody. Y'all want to hang out? You need a place to come chill for a second? You already know. We into our little conspiracy theory moments, our segments right now. And the thing is when I come with my little stories, there's receipts. You seen he had the reports, and I always say it because it's important. These aren't just crazy theories thrown out there. These are theories that are derived from news reports. So there's actual facts, that are the roots of these stories. You know what I'm saying? So these are better than others. Some people just come out with the wildest stuff and they just story boxing. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just so telling. It is so telling that all of this was planned ahead of time.
United had not had a real accident in over 15 years. And I was beginning to get the sense that we didn't think we were going to have an accident. And I concluded that we weren't ready. So 6 months before 9/11, I said to the management team, one of these days, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do a no-notice drill.
He's allowed to do it. A no-notice drill. It's in his job description that he has the right to, without letting anybody know, run a drill. The crazy thing is that it's risky. He could get in trouble, and it's wild. He shouldn't be, able to get in trouble for something. Not only can he do, he does it for the most extreme. It's the best way to have people on point. And you'll see in the story why it's good. It's a good thing.
On August the 30th of 2011, I came in and I grabbed my safety guy. I said, okay, we're we're going to do a no-nose drill. You call the captain before he takes off on a 747 going into Sydney, and you tell him at this time in the flight he's to call in and say, this is United 571 Heavy, uncontained number 3 engine failure, rapid.
Just so you know, I completed the hoodie challenge. I'm gonna take it off though for a second. I'm hot right now. Remember, 6 live, 6 hoodie, 6 different hoodies, 6 lives in a row. You know, and like I said, it's for me to keep my spirit going, to keep doing these lives. All right, guys. Yeah, I needed some fresh air. All right, guys, let's go.
A descent, decompression, and then stop halfway through the word decompression, and then go dead, silent. So only the safety guy and me knew, and I knew about it. So come around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my secretary comes barreling into the office. Andy, we have a crisis. 400, it's called a 747 400 code in the airline. 400 has lost contact over the Pacific. So I run over to the crisis center or to the ops center, and they can't raise him. So I open the crisis center.
He got cojones, I'll give him that.
And I open the crisis center. Those 3,000 pages go out. There are people throwing up in the hall. There are people crying. People just staring out the windows. And I let it go on for half an hour. And then I get on the crisis center comlink, which has got 170 stations and people all over the country, all over the world. And I say, this has been a no-notice drill. There is no event. Everything's fine. Oh my God. I had people wanting me fired like I have never. At whatever I did in my life up until then was easy because I had the board members calling, I had the unions demanding I be fired. I have people telling me I'm the most evil person in the world. And it's amazing after 9/11, 11 days later, how many people came up to me and thanked me because we were ready. As ready as you can be, but all the phone numbers worked, all the people knew what to do. They'd had an emotional shock to their system.
He got lucky that he did it that quick. Let me tell you something. What he's telling you guys is, you know, and I know most of you get it, but for anybody that missed it, he's saying that if he wouldn't have did what he did, 9/11 would have been worse. Facts. That's what he's saying. I mean, if he's keeping it real, you know what I'm saying?
And United performed better and was their finest hour for that month after 9/11.
So you hear that? 11 days prior to this happening, they were testing to make sure they were ready, that all the systems were ready, all the phones were ready, and not just that, but people were emotionally ready because they already had this shock to their system. United conducting this no-notice drill, and as coincidence may have it, the 2 planes involved were United. Can't make it up. Can't make it up even if you wanted to. But moving on, I found this article to be very interesting, and it kind of correlates to my most recent video I made on my other channel, Seconds of Horror, that has to do about quote-unquote aliens and Project BB. Now, I'll get into how it connects in a minute, but this article is titled, Goodbye to Dark Nights on Earth, California startup Reflect Orbital, that's the company's name, plans 4,000 space mirrors and sets off alarm bells among astronomers.
This is what I was telling you guys about at the beginning of the segment, or beginning of this video. Yeah, you know, I told you, man, they're playing with the sun, you know, and it's called geoengineering. It's supposed to be a legit thing. I'm not saying that it's not, if done the right way. And I'm not even saying they're not doing it the right way. I'm saying it's crazy, though, that this is what it's come to, you know, and I don't trust it. Listen to what he just said. I'm like I said, since we're live, I'll rewind it. You know, edited commentary. You're not gonna see any rewind. But since we're alive, I'm gonna rewind it. What he's just said is so important. This is insane, people. Pay attention.
Wanted to. But moving on, I found this article to be very interesting, and it kind of correlates to my most recent video I made on my other channel, Seconds of Horror, that has to do about quote-unquote aliens and Project BB. Now, I'll get into how it connects in a minute, but this article is titled Goodbye to Dark Nights on Earth, California startup Reflect Orbital, that's the company's name, plans 4,000 space mirrors and sets off alarm bells among astronomers. So yes, you heard that correctly. This company that's headquartered in California plans to send 4,000 giant mirrors. These mirrors could be up to 55 meters wide, bigger than most small buildings, above California before 2030. And these mirrors would be in an orbit that follows the line between night and day, and its function would be to reflect sunlight towards specific areas of the Earth. Just think about this for a second. They had already come out and admitted to spraying things in the skies to dim the sunlight, reflect the sunlight, control the sunlight. The sunlight is vital for people, animals, crops, farms, and so forth. But also is the moonlight. The moonlight is very vital.
That's why, too, like, even if you have good intentions, which I'm not certain about that neither, what if you're wrong? You're playing with something you shouldn't play with. You're doing math, anticipations about what it'll do. What if you're wrong?
The article goes on to say the light they reflected would be seen as a gentle glow, similar to moonlight. It wouldn't be as bright as daytime, but it would brighten the night in the places where the mirrors shine. The light reflected by the mirrors could be 4 times brighter than the full moon, which can affect migrating birds, nocturnal animals, wildlife across large distances over 60 miles away, and human sleep cycles and natural rhythms. So not only are they controlling the natural sunlight, which we need, all of us need, nature needs, but they're also controlling the very vital moonlight. This is so evil. The company has already requested permission to launch its first test satellite called Arendelle 1, and it is expected to put it into orbit in April of 2026. During this test, people in certain places could see the reflection as a bright moving star in the sky.
You see, he already made up his mind about it. He said this is so evil. And listen, man, I don't watch his channel for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I pretty much echo his sentiment about a lot of things. I'm once in a while he'll probably say something I don't agree with, but for the most part, we're on the same page.
But this is where we get into Project Bluebeam, and it's probably no longer Project Bluebeam, but something far more advanced that they are working on under a different name. But this article right here from The Guardian, which was published back in 2000, the article is titled Bring Down.
I always tell you guys, Project Bluebeam woke me up. He called it Project BB. I don't know if it's a no go, when you're doing your thing, but I doubt it. I think he's just being careful. But that was what let me know that you shouldn't buy in 100%. If you're really gonna even entertain the thought of aliens being real, make sure you have solid evidence. You get what I'm saying?
On the wrath of God on evil men. Back in 1990-1991, the United States Air Force wanted a complete, flawless victory over the Iraqi forces during the Gulf conflict, and one of the ways they were going to go ahead and achieve this was to use a giant hologram of Allah over Iraq. Not only were they going to be able to see Allah, but they were also going to be able to hear Allah.
That's what I told you about the stuff in the sky, all the UAVs, the UFOs, all the stuff that you see, all these crazy things. Like out on the channel the other day, I did the flying octopuses. There's these things that look like squids. Now, like I said, I don't know. It looks crazy. They be popping up out of nowhere. They move fast, and you gotta they're not really big in the sky. So you gotta catch them. You gotta pinpoint them. And but like I said, you just never know with all this advanced technology. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what he's telling you. You know what I'm saying?
To do so, they were going to go ahead and use 30-meter wide, extremely lightweight Mylar mirrors wrapped around a sheet of metallized plastic.
Mylar.
And again, this was 35 years ago, and when the idea was presented, it was not laughed off. They were going to do it. The only problem that stopped them was that they did not know what Allah looked like because there was no images or drawings of Allah. So they did not want to mess this up, and they decided not to go with the idea.
So this is Minakami Village.
These lightweight Mylar mirrors were also, as coincidence may have it, were used during
the Mylar makes it where it's harder for you to tell that it's a projection, an illusion.
During Tupac's concert to create a holographic image of Tupac. And just what type of mirrors will Reflect Orbital be putting up in the skies above California? They will be using large square deployable mirrors made from Mylar. Mylar mirrors are the best type of mirrors to use for holograms because they are beam splitters. Beam splitters not only can they help with holographic sounds, but they also provide superior optical quality, preventing double images, and are crucial for illusions where a virtual image appears to float in the skies. And don't think California will be the only state doing this. I bet we're going to
Merry Christmas to everybody out there too.
Hear that, well, it works so well out in California, we're going to go ahead and do it here. We're going to go ahead and do it there. So yeah, that's a wild rabbit hole that connects right back to Project Bluebeam. But even outside of Project Bluebeam, what they are officially doing is bad enough, controlling the moonlight. This could also be one of the reasons why California has a 400-mile wide, very, very persistent fog.
Yo, this is wild because I seen segments about the fog in California, but this piece right here, it really reveals how crazy it is in that part of California.
This could be hiding something that they are doing in the skies.
Hey guys, I live in Orange County, and you would think that we lived in, I don't even know. I've never seen this much fog, this consistent. And it's like 7:30 in the morning. It's so crazy. I don't know. People are saying it's a distraction from something.
Well, moving on, I do want to go ahead and talk about Nuno Loureiro and what he may have been working on. Nuno Loureiro was the MIT director of plasma.
Nuno Loureiro, right? Don't forget that name. Nuno Loureiro is the man who was going to make it possible, or it still probably is going to take place, which was started by his work, where they're going to put electrodes to your head. And you're going to be able to fly a drone with your mind. Listen.
Physics that was gunned down very recently. One of the things we know he was working on.
That's the other thing. He was assassinated.
On was free energy associated with this company right here, Commonwealth Fusion Systems, which was going to provide free energy commercially to the public, to people, which is a big no-no because this had nothing to do with AI. Because what came out after news came out that he was gunned down was that another free energy company was partnering with Trump. The shares went up 33%, and this free energy company is focusing on AI, building all these reactors that will help boost AI. But also, oddly enough, Nuno Loureiro was working on being able to control objects with your mind, mainly drones. This article right here where it says letters to the future between mind and machine,
non-invasive,
20 years, 20 stories, unexpected career paths with Nuno Loureiro. He had stated that he had joined the European Space Agency as a trainee engineer working on Marco Polo R, a proposed mission to bring an asteroid sample back to Earth. He was quoted as saying, "We were designing the leg of a lander that would make the first contact with the asteroid surface, a far cry from biology." But during a trip to the US in 2012, he stumbled upon an article mentioning Rui Costa's work on brain-machine interfaces, BMIs, letting the brain communicate directly with external devices, and he saw he was setting up a new lab at the CF Foundation. So he joined them, and what they were working on was to see if people could learn to pilot drones or flight simulators using BMIs based on EEG, which measure brain activity.
Yo, how crazy is that? Non-invasive too. They're gonna put the electrodes on your head. Listen.
Activity non-invasively through electrodes on the scalp. Their approach relied on feedback. Users gradually learn through trial and error to modulate their thoughts to guide flight. Yeah, he was working with a group that allowed people to control drones with their minds. So he, with the collaborations of others at the Technical University of Munich, helped advance neural signal decoding and test BMI control in a flight simulator. Nuno's group went on to secure a European Research Council grant, build custom hardware, and file a pair of patents, the first from Champalimaud, I think that's how you pronounce it, research. From this work came MindReach, a startup Nuno co-founded to bring BMI technology from the lab into real and virtual worlds. So that is indeed very interesting. I thought Nuno Loureiro was just doing physics, plasma.
You know, and listen, man, come on. We all, I mean, like I said too, you want to be careful because you don't want to hurt your channel. But at the end of it all, it's super coincidental that the guy was a super brainiac, like an Albert Einstein, and he was assassinated. You know, I mean, like I said, you know, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, all that. But like I said, you know, some things are too coincidental, and that man being the guy who invented the flying the drone with your brain, it's coincidental, too coincidental, whatever you want to call it. I'm entitled to my opinion. In my opinion, too coincidental.
Plasma free energy, but come to find out, he was also having people do things with their brain, their minds, controlling drones. They even had an entire company
stole his work.
They were doing this for years because
Allegedly.
the article also goes on to say those years also brought some near crashes before giving the world's first public demonstration of a drone flown purely by brain activity. Nuno trained for weeks in the lab using an EEG cap that measured tiny voltage changes and translated them into flight commands. Quoted as saying, "One day when we went to an aerodrome north of Lisbon to try it out for real, it was windy, the connection wasn't great, and the drone almost crashed into our car. It missed it about 30 centimeters. It could have been an expensive test flight." This is also something that DARPA has been heavily researching, allowing soldiers to potentially control multiple drones or other vehicles without using their hands. But Nuno Loureiro was not the only one around this time. There was another MIT.
Technology is so wild. I mean, it's so fast paced. It's like it's the first time people are getting too far ahead of themselves. Watch when quantum comes out. It's gonna be crazy, magical crazy.
MIT scientist named Seth Teller, who sounded like he was working on something similar to help people with disabilities. For example, visually impaired people navigate autonomously using sensors and AI, and aimed for technology to become so integrated with human needs that it felt like mind control. But get this, he also collaborated with DARPA. Back in 2006, he was a part of the DARPA Urban Driving Challenge. Teller led the MIT team in developing autonomous vehicles, focusing on robust navigation that relied less on GPS and more on situational awareness, a key part of winning the challenge.
Yeah, I told my man, right, that I seen something where they said that that there was a man building technology to fly a drone with your brain, and that it was non-invasive, and that they would use electrodes. And I told him that the guy was killed, but it looked like a lot of people believe it was an assassination because of how smart he was and the technology he developed. My man looked at me like I was lying practically, because the story is so like unbelievable, you know. And the part that I think he didn't believe was the part about that people are going to be able to fly drones with electrodes, you know. And like I said, I've never seen it, but you know, like I said, a lot of this stuff is based on reports. So, you know, this is at risk of the person who writes the report, the story of if he's debunked, he's gonna have to do a retraction. It's highly unlikely most of these reports are false because they're written by legitimate reporters.
Then between 2012 and 2014, he was a part of the DARPA Robotics Challenge. He guided MIT's efforts to build advanced humanoid robots like the Atlas model from Boston Dynamics for disaster response, aiming for greater autonomy in tasks like operating doors or tools, reducing reliance on teleoperation. Then in 2014, at the end of this challenge, he took himself out at the age of 50. So it sounds like he may have knew too much. They got what they needed from him, and that was that.
PSA, you might have.
And that was a different guy.
Wavy hair and don't even know it. Prose's 4-step wavy hair routine customized for your hair texture.
Cleopatra's Needle, Central Park.
This one, they said that it was transferred here, and the dudes are like, "How? Explain that."
Let's get into it. 1875, gift to New York City. What they send, the DHL, UPS, horse and buggy, the Pony Express. Make it make sense. Cleopatra's Needle, 12 BC. It's an artifact, I believe. Come on, came here from Egypt, 1875. How'd they get it on the boat? How'd the boat get here? Those little crabs. Come on, man. How'd they have it standing up straight? Make it make sense. How'd they get it off the boat? How'd they get it here? How'd they get it standing straight? Answer everything in the comments. Sound off. Come on.
You know, I'm assuming he's saying that the weight is, it's impossible for you to get it on a boat, especially a boat from 1875.
I went to public school. Make it make sense. Come on, please, someone. Yeah, they had pulleys. We pulled it off the boat. We had trains. Well, you must be stupid, guy. Why would you question this? Yeah, that's me. That's the comment section. Make it make sense. Sound off in the comments. How'd they get it here from whatever?
You see, when he just got a comment that was like taking a shot at him. I didn't do that. I just said that what he's saying is, and he's probably right. I don't think he would go through this whole video to and mock it. And it's not something that he's, you know, got a pretty strong sense about.
A boat they put this on in 1875 as a gift to New York City. Does this make sense? 1875? Right? Are we even near a port, right?
He said,
that's what I'm saying. Did they roll it? Pulleys. They're going to say pulleys. They love saying pulleys. Pulleys. Yeah, you have a headache? They're like, take a pulley. That's what they would say back in the day. They love telling you pulleys. Like your pants are sagging. Get some pulleys. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Have a good day. Make it make sense, you know?
Talk about a New Yorker. He's got to be Italian, you know, but I'm from New York too. So, you know, he sounds like an Italian New Yorker.
It is amazing, though. Have a good day.
So yeah, I did not know this was a thing, and apparently it is not a replica. It's actually a pair of obelisks together named Cleopatra's Needles that were moved from the ruins of Alexandria, Egypt in the 19th century and erected in New York. Some people believe that the transport and the placement of this needle is a lie, that this has always been here. It's a very interesting rabbit hole to go down into, especially given the fact of all the Egyptian imagery and obelisk in the United States. I mean, just take a look at the DC monument. Some people even believe there may be something buried beneath this Cleopatra's Needle, and there actually is. The official...
You seen that? There was something there. Yo, Merry Christmas to anybody who sees this live.
Explanation is that a time capsule buried beneath the obelisk contains an 1870 United States Census, a Bible, a Webster's Dictionary, the complete works of William Shakespeare, A Guide to Egypt, and a copy of the United States Declaration of Independence. A small box was also placed in the capsule by the man who arranged the obelisk, purchase, and transportation, but its contents remain unknown. But at the end of the day, who really knows what's truly beneath there?
New Year's Eve celebrations being canceled. Does anyone find it weird how we went from crazy radiation fog to black?
Well, that's another thing, man. California, it was the fog I just talked about. They're also getting hit with floods left and right.
Blackouts to crows everywhere and now floods in California. That's not even the craziest part. You know, the fog thing is very weird because we still have it going on. This was in Texas, and this girl was seeing all these crazy lights behind the fog. So the question is, what's happening behind the fog? I mean, there's no way that things are being moved behind the fog, is there? And so while the radiation fog was going on, their words, not mine, and the blackouts, there were a whole bunch of reports about crows going crazy for some reason. See, I told you the fog's still strong out in California and other parts of the United States. And now California's flooding. I mean, it really is a crazy turn of events. Now, completely unrelated 1000% about, you know, all the fog and all that stuff, we have this new super flu all around the country, all around the world. In some locations, we have experts saying that we should wear masks. And that's just a super mutated version of this flu. No idea at all, no reason of why that could be. Pretty wild and unrelated. By the way, we have a lot of accounts coming out warning of a Christmas-style terror attack. Who knows?
That video came from Moon Henry, and yeah, it definitely seems like a lot is boiling to a head, and a lot is centering around California.
Every time I go down that Bayside Miami Mall rabbit hole, that scares the hell out of me. Because how is it that you can Google, you can search, you can ask Chat GPT what happened, and nobody can tell you what happened? It's like whoever wiped it clean, wiped the whole internet clean. And for those of you that don't remember what happened, Bayside Miami Mall, people said they seen large figures, 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet tall figures in this mall that came through a portal. Police was called. It was a whole lot of police there. Mind you, but when the reports come out, they're saying that they came to the mall because of teenagers fighting. If you look at the footage of this, the footage that's still there, you'll see all of these damn police calls. Why would you send that many police calls just for teenagers fighting? Okay, went down a few rabbit holes. Videos that were up of people saying what they really seen are gone. So you're telling me that people just made all this? That's what you're telling me? How the is it possible for all this information to come out at one time? Videos, etc., etc., etc. And I'm going to say this is for entertainment purposes only. But there was videos on all platforms saying what these people saw. Now these videos are gone. I guess I'm the one tripping, right?
Yeah, yo, that's one that really also, because this is you're gonna find this wild. Anybody who sees this, I remember that. I literally remember when they made the report. When they made the report on the fact that, well, if I remember correctly, I remember them getting a call, because you gotta remember, I watched stuff like this for a long time. Well, the mall, I forget, the Bayside Mall, they said there was a call to the mall, and they said that they had seen aliens, right? And that's how I heard the story. Now here we are, whatever, a year later, whatever, however long he said, and they're saying that that never happened. Now, I'm not gonna say that I heard the real reports. I'm not saying that I didn't hear the rumors. What I'm saying is that I remember when the Bayside Mall got the call and they said that there was aliens at the Bayside Mall. And now they're saying it don't exist. Well, I don't know if I was hearing the rumors from that day or the actual reports, but when I heard the story, it's exactly like homie's telling it. And that's my word, you know. Yo, listen, it is what it is, man. You gotta understand too. Most likely, a lot of times it wouldn't have been like that where I know what he's talking about. But I've been paying attention to stuff like this for a while now, you know. And sometimes I'm too into sports, too into politics. But around the time that they said something like that happened, you know, allegedly, I was into this and I was paying attention. And I remember that day. You know, like I said, if it was the rumors I heard or the actual reports or people that heard actual reports, you know, I don't know. But I do remember the day that they said the aliens were in the mall. All right, guys, let's play it.
Teenagers fighting does not mandate a whole
true.
Police station
I remember.
to come to Bayside Miami Mall. And if you don't believe any of this, go down the rabbit hole. I've made videos about this before. I'm still confused.
I wouldn't lie. I swear. I was doing lives. There might be one of my lives might contain. I'm like, oh, they said there was aliens at the mall. Like, for real.
I just do not understand how this happened and we know nothing about it.
The Miami Mall aliens news story will always be in my top 5 of the most bizarre things that happened back in 2024. And the strangest part about the whole thing is that I'm from here. I've been to the Bayside Mall. They have cameras everywhere. And there was not a single bit of video footage of inside the mall of these teenagers fighting. We have seen this time and time again when it came to other news stories. But when it came to this particular news story with all these police, there was not one piece of video footage of these teenagers fighting inside this mall. Just a very, like he said, a very eerie rabbit hole to go down into. That video came from Money Bates.
Strange sounds have been echoing through several local neighborhoods. People are losing sleep, and neighbors can't quite pinpoint the source. Local 12's Marla Porter is live tonight in Northside with what they are hearing and the frustration this is causing. Hey, Marella.
Hi, Kyle. Yeah, Sean Harold is the person who reached out to us. He actually lives in Clifton, and he really just wants to get some answers. Now, he spent last night logging how many times he heard this mysterious noise going on and off through the night. He counted about a dozen times, and all he wants to know is when this is going to stop.
Dentists want this ultrasonic device to be made illegal in the US. And the problem starts right here, in the bathroom. Do you see the problem?
When you stop and really listen, the city makes a lot of noise. Speaking of sound, but what people are hearing in Northside, Clifton, and Camp Washington is unusual.
With a lot of that city noise, a lot of it becomes pretty regular and you get pretty used to it. So when something like this that's pretty foreign, it kind of stands out to you.
This sound is keeping people up at night. Brendan Markham says last night was the loudest it's been in Northside.
It almost didn't stop for a couple hours.
The duration.
Yo, leave in the comment section if you think the noise is being made by somebody in power, you know, and with power up high, whether it's you know, rich people or the government, or if you think it's something otherworldly.
Varies from a few seconds to several minutes, and it's difficult to describe.
We were hearing this like siren quality noise, whirring, oscillating up and down.
The Herald started hearing the sounds 2 weeks ago.
I hear a sound in the morning, but I looked and it's a car, I think, you know what I'm saying? But I watch so much of this stuff, like the noise is weird. You know what's crazy? I'm pretty sure I looked. Now I'm going to look again. Because it happens almost every morning. When it happens, like later on or whatever, I'm going to check. You know, but I think I did check already and it was a car. But this type of stuff, I have you looking up in the sky all the time.
Clifton.
My son came up to me and said, "Dad, the tornado sirens are going off."
And it's been happening every night since.
Usually it starts at about 10 p.m. It can go till 3 a.m., 4 a.m., but it's quite unpredictable.
And it kind of stresses me out because I don't know what it is, and it's kind of scary.
It's got a lot of people talking on Facebook, speculating about the source. Storm sirens, construction, drones, this recycling plant, or the rail yard.
So we have another strange and bizarre noise heard in another location.
All right, big shout out to Minutes of Horror. You know what's crazy? I gotta pull up. I thought that this was the one with the. Oh, all right, cool. We're about to do the one where the officer draws the weapon on the autistic kid. Now that you know, I got a son that got autism. I only bring it up when it's relevant, and the child that gets the gun drawn on him is autistic, so it's relevant, you know. So let me stop this real quick. Like I said, I hit him with the thumbs up. Big shout out to Minutes of Horror again real quick. And let's get the next one cracking. All right, this one is going to get people upset, you know what I'm saying? But rightly so. I'm pretty sure some people are going to be fuming. All right, here we go.
She may have paperwork. Let ICE call ICE over.
Call ICE? Okay, call ICE. I have paperwork.
Oh, no, this is not the one. You know what? Hold on a second. Because I really wanted you guys to see the other one. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it real quick for you guys. I might have to set it up for another day. I should be able to find it. It's got to be here somewhere. All right, give me 1 second. I should be able to find it. If not, I'll just go on with the ice one. All right, I'm just gonna have to go. You know what? Let me check one time. Right. I got it. All right, people. That's what it was. It was Rashad Ritchie. I thought it was Rick Strom. It was still TYT. I got you guys right now though, because this is what's in the title. Matter of fact, that was the first. The title of the video starts off. Matter of fact, my display name is about the autistic incident. I mean the gun incident. So let's get it started real quick. Sorry for the little pause, but we're about to really get it popping right now. Okay, let me stop sharing that one. I got you guys. I got you guys. You know, I was gonna give up, but I was like, I got it. I know how to do it, and I caught it. Yeah, man, this cop messes up big time. Like I said, I don't highlight anybody intentionally, not any career choice, not any nationality, nothing. I show you guys what intrigues me, what infuriates me, and what I think you guys would like to see. Period. You know. All right. See, this is why too, you know, I can't help but being like there's a lot of stupid people out there. Because there's a lot of stupid people out there, you know, and I hope you're not one of them.
Officer decides to pull guns on the black child for a Nintendo Switch. Yes.
Idiot.
Pulled a gun on a child for a Nintendo Switch. Here it is.
If I told you I had a Switch in my pocket, what would you think I was carrying? When a black autistic teenager told a classmate he had a Switch, they didn't think he was talking about the game system. So a few minutes later, a school security officer had him on the ground pointing an actual weapon. Normally, the child in this video is required to have an adult aide shadow him everywhere he goes. But today, that aide was absent. And even though the officer completely ignored protocol for what's supposed to happen in these situations, the school district is blaming the child for the incident. In press statements, the school district is bending the definition to make it seem like he admitted to having a weapon. In news,
my son has a one-on-one. So my son cannot go to school. And the wild thing is that my son, not to compare who's worse, who has it worse, but my son is not allowed to go to school unless he has his one-on-one with him. So this child is allowed to go to school without his one-on-one with him. But still, look at what happens. You know what I'm saying? Now you wish you wouldn't have let him go without his one-on-one.
News outlets are using that statement for their headlines, painting the picture that the officer is justified because he felt threatened. I can't help but think that if the words switch, piece, or tool were used by a student with less melanin, it wouldn't result in them seeing the barrel of an actual weapon.
Put it up.
Now, yo, take a look at that picture. Now, if that's your child, he doesn't even have to have he doesn't have to have special needs. Just if that's your child alone, look at the picture. You know, and I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think it's a coincidence that he's not white. That's what I really feel. I feel like that if it was a white child, that would not have happened. There's a chance it wouldn't have happened. There's a chance it would have. He, you know, he might be dumb all around. You know, not just racist dumb. But anyway, now it infuriates me knowing that that kid is on the floor like that he got the thing on him like that, and he didn't even see a gun. You know, it could fire by accident. A lot of things could happen. You know, just think about Fruitvale Station. You know, once you got that on somebody, if it goes off, it's over. So, but then to top it off, the kid is autistic, bro. Use your brain. You know, I don't know if they have a section where you're supposed to know or if it's integrated, but you know, he's still too quick on the draw. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna listen, Dr. Rashad Ritchie, right? Like I said, man, shout to all these people. My man from Minutes of Horror, Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Rick Strom, Adam Mockler, all the people I cover, you know, and yeah, well, listen good to what Dr. Rashad Ritchie says.
That young man's at school. He has a gun pointed to his head. Content creator Tony Weaver Jr. recaps what happened. You saw that great video, Tony. In North Carolina, a Dorchester High School student had a gun pulled on him by a resource officer. The black student is 16 years of age. According to the cop, he thought he had a gun, but all the child had was a Nintendo Switch.
A Nintendo
That's it.
Switch.
Police say a staff member spoke to the officer about a student who reportedly told a different student that he was carrying a weapon. The resource officer went into the cafeteria to handle the situation, identifying the student based on a description from the staff member.
From the beginning of the story, it's just you could tell the dude who handled the situation, you know, he not only wasn't on his A game, no A game exists. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't on his B game or his C game. He was, you know, from the beginning, he handles it wrong.
When the officer asked the student what was in his pocket, he allegedly said a Switch. Lawyers say the student was referring to a Nintendo Switch, a gaming console he carries with him as a comfort item that is known to staff. But the officer misinterpreted his statement to mean he had a Glock switch.
How scary can you be?
Yeah, Glock switch. It was at this time that the officer drew his service weapon.
Yeah, the kid who's gonna draw down on you is gonna let you know he got a switch in his pocket.
And had
dude is Gomer Pyle.
Had the student lie on the ground. Police say the student was detained without incident. Nobody was harmed during these events. According to them, officers are still investigating, quote, to ensure the safety and security of everyone at the school. No charges have been filed against the student, who has since been confirmed not to have any sort of weapon at all. There's more. Fraser Law officers, said in a release that the student the school resource officer put a gun on is autistic and is enrolled in the school's special education program. They also said that he is required to be accompanied by an adult aide at all times, but was not with him during the time of the incident. Now, there are
I mean, if he's supposed to be with him at all times, you know, he should have been there. You know what I'm saying? If it's different if they say, you know, he's allowed to be at school without him or somewhere without him, but he just said he's not supposed to be anywhere without him, so he should have been there. You know, I don't know why he was there without somebody watching over him.
Couple of things happening here. One, you have a massive misalignment of the truth and how the story has been told so far. You have headlines that basically justify the officer's position or point of view based on what he assumed the child meant in the statement. Beyond that, you typically have contracts between the child's parents and the school when you have someone who requires a special need. In this case, it was a Nintendo Switch. It's called a comfort item. That comfort item is allowable in almost every jurisdiction, school jurisdiction that I'm aware of. Comfort item. Everyone is aware of what that comfort item may be. Sometimes it's a blanket. Sometimes it's a Nintendo Switch, as long as it's not harmful. So Frazier said the teen's individualized special education or education program, this is a contract, IEP. This is your direct contract between the parents.
That's the person my wife speaks to all the time, the IEP.
And the school. Allowed him to have the gaming console on his person, meaning it was an approved item for comfort. The attorney clarified he had an additional Switch in his backpack because it's important to his IEP. The biggest mistake here was the administration not providing him with either another shadow or an alternative plan and saying, quote, hey, our shadow is not here. You can't leave the classroom right now, end quote. Frazier said he added that when the incident occurred, Murray was walking with a friend who was not a special needs student, quote, but had he had an adult with him, especially one familiar with his IEP, they could have said, hey man, when he says Switch, he means the game system. He means the Nintendo Switch, the one that his IEP covers.
You should have known.
That's what he's talking about. So once again, we have to correct the headlines and the narrative because this is more about the neglect of the institution, neglect of following the actual IEP contract, and the fact that the cop got it wrong. The only person that did exactly what they were supposed to do and following all terms of the agreement was the child who had a gun to his head. He's the only one that did everything right. Only one. And now this has happened because they decided to tell a false narrative.
And I don't know if he said it already, but my son can't stay still. So, I don't know if that resource officer knew the kid, which makes it worse because that means he knows he's autistic. So most likely he don't know the kid, because if he knew he was autistic and he did that, that makes it worse. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he don't know the kid. There's a bad side to that too, because if he don't know the kid, that means he wouldn't know if he's severely autistic like my son. My son is beyond rambunctious. He can't control, doing a sudden movement. You understand what I'm saying? Like would he have done that? You get what I'm saying? Like, the gun shouldn't even be on the kid.
There's more. Frazier, former police officer, said there is a unique protocol for addressing students who are potentially armed. It usually involves the student being moved to a separate secure area, often by multiple officers and not in the cafeteria while other students and faculty are present, he said. Frazier added that the situation could have ended poorly if it were an armed person with ill intent, as that person could have gotten off a shot either at the officer or someone else. Quote, or conversely, if this kid's level of autism wasn't as high functioning as it is, had he not complied or put his hand in his pocket, the officer had his gun drawn, he'd had gotten shot and murdered over a game system in his school by an SRO, the attorney said, and that's exactly right.
I'll let Dr. Rashad Ritchie say it for me, because I don't even think I would have been able to say what he said without blowing my top. Like, that's, you see, people, until it happens, people don't think that could be a scenario. Like, it definitely could be a scenario. We both just said it. My son cannot stay still. And most likely he didn't know the child, because then he would have known he was autistic, and he would have been like, oh, that's such and such. He has autism.
That's exactly right. That part. If this was not a high-functioning individual who had a gun to his head and decided to ask questions rather than comply or say, look, I'm going to show you what it is, and pull it out, and all of a sudden he gets shot before he can do so. That is the reason you have proper protocol.
I salute Dr. Rashad. I salute Rick Strom, you know, and but I, you know, big shout out to Dr. Rashad Ritchie. You know, they both, you know, be killing it, but you know, sometimes he's just so like he lets them know that they're wrong, you know, and yeah, I like his style. I like Rick Strom's style too, though.
You have an IEP. You have administrators who follow the rule. That young man should have had his shadow aide with him.
All the people that I named before, even there's more, but can't make the whole list right now off the top of the head.
Him. The problematic statement by the school officials. The following email went out to staff members and families. Quote, dear Fort families and staff, this morning, Fort Dorchester High School was placed on a hold following multiple reports of a student possibly in possession of a gun on campus. When the school resource officer approached the student,
because of Gomer Pyle,
the student stated they had a gun. Lie. And kept a hand in their pocket. In response, the officer drew his weapon and directed the student to comply. The student followed the officer's instructions, and the situation was brought under control without injury. After a search, no weapon was found. I have more of the statement. It does continue, but already an entire school system, adults, they got together, conspired, came up with a narrative.
Yeah, they lied. Give me 1 second. Okay. Right back with you.
To change just a slight part of that narrative. Said, no, he said he had a gun. Yeah, he said he had a gun. And then that's why the officer had to do what he had to do. He had a gun, and the kid said he had a gun.
He's saying they lied, you know, and I missed the part, but I don't know him to lie. So I'll take his word for it.
Everybody said he had a gun, even the kid. No, never happened. Never happened. He said he had a Switch, a Nintendo Switch.
Yep. The
fact that you don't properly contextualize that part of the story is
they don't want to take the heat, so they say a gun instead of a switch. He said that you don't want to take accountability. You put it in the wrong context on purpose to save your own butt. I'll let him finish.
Evidence of what you're attempting to do, which is to cover your own ass and not give a damn about this student. It continues, quote, the district is fully cooperating with the North Charleston Police Department. All district safety policies and procedures were followed and will continue to be upheld through this process. The district has additional security personnel to support students and staff throughout the day. The safety and security of students and staff remains our top priority. Thank you for understanding and continued support. Keep that statement up. The district is fully cooperating with the North Charleston Police Department for what? There's no crime that happened. The only person that was out of line was the cop that drew his gun. On the real gun, there was a cop's. There was no gun, no mention of a gun. What are you cooperating about? Unless you're cooperating to get this cop arrested for his negligence.
Yep.
All district safety policies and procedures were followed. Another lie. Another lie. According to Frazier, you still had students and faculty in proximity and did not remove the student as the policy requires. It's another lie.
Get him, Dr. Rashad.
Put up the leadership. You have Principal Raymond Eldridge, Superintendent Chad Doherty, and North Charleston Police Chief, Dr. Ron Camacho. Doc, I put you in here, sir, because they mentioned your agency, so I assume you're part of it somehow. And if you're not, you need to tell them to keep your name out of their mouth. But they put you in this, so I'm going to put you in it too. What are you all doing?
All
These
the
are children. The young man did not have anything on his persons that he was not allowed to have by way of a direct IEP.
Any special needs.
It's a violation of contractual terms when you, as an institution, when you do not honor the IEP. It's a contract. And then to create a false narrative after the fact shows your lack of good faith. I want to give a special thanks to Tony Weaver Jr. for bringing attention to this story.
That's what's up.
Who delivers insight and commentary on TikTok for a number of items. If you don't follow him, you need to. All right, Sharon.
Yeah, he's the guy who did the commentary at the beginning. He's a younger man. He gave him a shot. Dr. Rashad Richie's cool like that. Homie right there. You know, he put him at the beginning of the segment so that he could give him some shine. And that was dope too. All right, so we're gonna get into some scary stories real quick. All right. Let me bring that up real quick. Time is of the essence. All right. All right, we should be good now. Let me full screen it.
Based in Missouri. The Hunting Public is a DIY hunting channel based in Missouri. Their primary focus is to educate new and inexperienced hunters, and most of their content follows a very similar format built around that purpose.
This is a good one.
Their videos show the hunters going to different locations, finding the game, and usually completing the hunt by the end, all while explaining their thought process at each step in detail. And the video they filmed on September 25, 2022 was meant to be no different. Two of the channel's hosts, Ted and Nick, were out bow hunting deer on public land in their home state. Little did they know, this trip was about to be cut short by the most disturbing encounter they've ever had in the wilderness. The incident happened at roughly 6:45 p.m. while the two were hiding in a tree, waiting for a deer, when, out of nowhere, they heard what sounded like a loud scream in the distance. It was too distinctly human to be coming from an animal or something similar. And while this was plenty terrifying on its own, it was only the beginning of a much more haunting sequence of events. Because not only did the screaming continue for the next 30 minutes, it also became more manic and blood-curdling with each passing minute.
I need help fixing my sink.
Okay, let me find a tutorial for you. Do you have a pipe wrench?
Yo, Merry Christmas to anybody out there. Hope you guys had a good Christmas.
Oh, you the man.
I haven't been to the grocery store in over a year, but I'm eating healthier than ever. Here's how I did it. Meal planning used to be such...
Yo, the way they're screaming, they sound like they're in distress, major distress.
Things only became worse when they heard the sound of several gunshots coming from the same direction.
It's like 20 shots. I gotta go back real quick. Yeah, it's about 17 shots.
Something not good's going on. Now, all of this still could have had a perfectly reasonable explanation. Maybe the person screaming was being chased by a predator like a black bear and used their firearm in self-defense. However, what made this explanation unlikely were the few coherent words that could be heard in between the screaming, with the voice yelling for help and saying phrases like, "I hate you." The voice became even more disturbing after the gunshots, shouting what sounded like, "Somebody help, you effing killed her," and other disturbing phrases.
Remember, they could have, they could be trying to get money too. I just thought about it. I don't think it's safe.
In addition to the screaming, shouting, and gunshots, the two also heard the sound of multiple cars speeding off, after which everything went silent. By now, Ted and Nick were convinced they had just heard a horrific crime take place less than half a mile from their location. Unfortunately, they didn't have cell service in the wilderness to make a report, and the only way out of the woods was in the same direction as the screaming. Getting too close and alerting what could be an armed and dangerous group could have been life-threatening. So they decided to stay silently hidden in the trees for the next few hours, and only moved back after it was completely dark out. The two eventually made it back to their car and drove to a spot with cell reception to report the incident. However, from what I was able to find, the authorities weren't able to locate a body or even find any evidence of a crime at the location Ted and Nick provided, leaving this disturbing encounter unresolved. People on the internet have come up with several theories to explain the situation, ranging from a firing squad execution to someone having a drug-fueled mental breakdown with a gun in their hand. But
tell me if you, in the comments section, if you think they staged it or if it's official.
Many have also accused the hunting public of faking the whole thing, which is a common strategy by failing YouTube channels to go viral and gain new viewers. However, the hunting public had a fairly consistent viewership before this video, and it didn't increase by a significant amount after the encounter. They also have over 1,400 other regular hunting videos. This being,
it doesn't sound like them, and nothing major came of it. They would be risking their reputation to do something that didn't even work. You know what I'm saying? That's what really leads me to believe that it's authentic.
The only one with a strange encounter. Typically, channels that fake videos have other suspicious content. The screams also seemed far too primal and emotional for anyone to fake that convincingly. Put simply,
Merry Christmas, y'all, man. Thanks for anybody who stopped in real quick. Thank you.
What they heard was more than likely real. Unfortunately, it's been over 3 years since the incident.
We got 4 more scary stories left.
And we still have no answers on what it was all about. You know how every year around this time, the temperature drops, everyone around you starts coughing, and suddenly you're convincing yourself you're probably fine? Yeah, that was me a few weeks ago. I kept brushing off this awful sore throat because I really didn't feel like dealing with the whole Dr. Hunt. Start getting the care you need. In November 2022, a bow hunter from Michigan named Brendan Fitzpatrick was camping alone inside his hunting blind, waiting for a deer to pop into view, when suddenly he
this guy handles it well.
Was startled by a voice he didn't recognize. Brendan looked outside to see who it was and came face to face with an angry-looking man pointing an AR directly at him. Brendan tried to explain the situation, but the man wasn't willing to hear any of it and kept becoming more and more hostile.
What luck.
I'm out there right now. All right. But I just want to show you kind of why we're here. We pay good money to hunt this property. We've been hunting it for years.
No, you ain't been moving for years. I've been here 8 years.
Do you live on this property right here?
Sir, you're not listening to me. I'm not.
I just want to talk to you. I'm sorry.
He then told Brendan to put his phone down and said what can only be interpreted as a threat.
Put your phone down.
You have an AR in front of me. I'm scared.
Put your phone down.
Dude, I'm scared as now.
Okay, well, it's going to be more scary. Are you attacking me?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I'm hunting. I'm hunting with.
Drop your phone.
Oh, my God.
Phone.
Sir,
I'm
I'm bow hunting. I don't have any guns on me.
If a man is that scared, why would you still see? That's what I'm saying. Like that's so bullyish. It's hard. You got him at the end of a firearm, and he's telling you he's scared. You're gonna be like, it's gonna get more scary. Like, you know, while you got that thing, you talking real tough. You know, feel bad for the man. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. He's trying to get his hunt on. Dude comes out of nowhere and is like, you know, makes him feel like he's about to lose his life.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Him saying, "Are you attacking me?" while Brendan was doing everything in his power to cooperate and stay calm, it came off as him looking for an excuse to open fire and claim self-defense later. He also kept ordering Brendan to get out of the area while repeatedly threatening him with his gun and his aggressive-sounding dog. Brendan explained that he wasn't trespassing, and that the land he was on was legally leased for bow hunting, which was true and was something he and his family had been doing for multiple years. However, despite getting a reasonable explanation, the man refused to accept any of it and kept trying to intimidate Brendan.
That's horrible, man. I can only imagine how that man feels, even though I've been on the wrong end of a thingy more than once, you know, but still, you know, it don't feel good. Feels very bad.
What made the encounter even more unsettling for Brendan was that the man refused to even state his name, making it clear that he had no interest in a civil conversation. Not only that, but he also name-dropped Chai Vang when threatening Brendan, a violent criminal who took the lives of 6 people and injured 2 more members of a hunting party in 2004. Put simply, the man was insinuating that he was willing to do the same to Brendan if he didn't comply. Fortunately, Brendan was able to stay
probably got mental health issues and he's on some survivalist stuff.
Composed enough to not aggravate the man any further and live to see another day. Brendan later tried to press charges against the man, but the police weren't as helpful as he'd hoped. They essentially told him that he didn't have enough evidence to start a criminal case against the man and left it at that. However, that wasn't even the end of it, because a year later, on November 25, 2023, Brendan's brother encountered the same man while hunting in the area. Due to what happened the year prior, he made sure to position his tree stand more than 150 yards away from the site of the original confrontation. But for some reason, the man became even more hostile than last time and directly opened fire without saying a word.
Wow.
Luckily, none of the shots actually hit Brendan's brother, and he was able to leave the area without getting injured. However, according to Brendan, the authorities didn't file any charges against the man yet.
What a bozo, and then the cops don't even do nothing.
Again, citing the same lack of evidence. Though people online suspect that the perpetrator might have connections at the local police department, allowing him to threaten the lives of innocent people and not face any consequences.
Yeah, because he's right there. If you want to go get him, you know, it depends though. I don't know how big those woods are or if it's hard to locate somebody, but you would think they would have been able to go get on some like, yo, you got to stop doing that, or even lock them up or whatever.
Consequences. The only silver lining in this disturbing case is that no one was actually hurt. Brendan and his family have also returned to hunting, likely at a completely different location. On September 10, 2024, at approximately 7:45 a.m., 2 fishermen were kayaking down Lake Emery in Franklin, North Carolina, when one of them spotted what appeared to be a log drifting in the water ahead. However, something about it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
So Mark Wilkins paddled closer to take a better look, and that's when he made the horrifying discovery. It wasn't a log at all. In reality, he was staring at human remains that had likely been in the lake for multiple days by that point. He was still a bit unsure and thought that maybe it was some Halloween decoration that had found its way into the lake. But the closer he got, the clearer it became. The remains were certainly real. And after taking a couple of minutes to calm his nerves, Mark dialed 911 and told them about his discovery.
The conversation, he told the operator some crazy stuff.
I am fishing on Lake Emery and I have come across a dead body.
If I remember correctly.
Are you in the water? Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it. I mean, it looks like a dead body. I mean, there's a hand sticking up. There's a rotted face. I don't know if it's some kind of stupid Halloween spooky thing, but I'm not touching it. So.
Now, discovering human remains like this is disturbing enough on its own.
I think it takes a chilling twist too at the end.
But what made this find even more chilling was the dark implications it suggested. You see, authorities had also found the remains of a 19-year-old boy in the same lake just a month earlier. And if the two cases were connected, it meant that there was possibly a serial killer on the loose in the small town of Franklin.
Wow. 2 bodies. I don't know if he says there's another one.
Talking to the police, Mark also remembered seeing a pair of Crocs lying near the boat ramp he used earlier that morning, adding another disturbing layer to an already unsettling situation. That said, the reality of this case turned out to be far more tragic than disturbing. The person in the lake was later identified as 50-year-old Ethel Marie Ogle. According to the official reports, there was no foul play involved in her death. At first glance, duck hunting seems like one of the safest hunting styles out there.
No foul play, they said. May she rest in peace.
Especially since it doesn't require hunters to spend any time deep in the wilderness, where running into angry predators like bears or bobcats is a constant concern. However, duck hunting, just like most other outdoor activities, comes with its own set of risks. Something Ethan from the Lucas Reinsch YouTube channel became well aware of in November.
Anytime you got a firearm, anytime, that's power. You know, so anytime you're dealing with a firearm, I don't care how nice you are with it, you got to be careful. That's power. You got to respect power.
2020. He was out hunting ducks with a shotgun early in the morning while the sun was barely up. After staking out on a beach for a few hours and waiting for the ducks to gather, he found a target and managed to shoot it down. The duck fell a bit too far into the water, but without a boat, his only option was to wade into the water to retrieve it. And that's when everything went wrong.
I would have not have ran into that water to get no duck. I would have shot another one closer, you know. I mean, he went far out, and the reason I wouldn't have done what he did is exactly what happens to him. It's exactly the reason I wouldn't have went in there is exactly what happens to him.
Wrong. Ethan had plenty of duck hunting experience under his belt, but he wasn't completely familiar with this particular lake and didn't know about the sharp drop-off a few feet off the shore. So as he got closer to the duck, the ground suddenly dropped off from under his feet, leaving him struggling to stay afloat.
That's why you don't run into the water. And I knew that. Hell no.
He also knew how to swim, but that wasn't as big of a help as he'd hoped it to be. The biggest issue at hand were his waders. They became filled with water, sinking him deeper while also making it near impossible to move in the water. Under normal circumstances, staying...
This guy ran in the water to get a duck, and he wasn't going to be able to swim even if he was the nicest swimmer in the world because he had a whole bunch of weights on him.
Afloat is relatively easy for anyone who knows what they're doing. However, water-filled waders make this otherwise simple task infinitely more difficult, as drowning becomes a stronger possibility with each passing second. To make matters worse, the water Ethan was in was also extremely cold. Even if he could stay afloat with heavy waders, he still risked contracting hypothermia and passing out.
I never went hunting, you know, but I mean, the scenery and everything is beautiful, but I don't think I would get a thrill out of, you know, ending ending something's life. You know, the only time that would have to take place would be in self-defense.
Before drowning. The cold water was also tensing up his muscles and making it difficult to keep moving. And to top it all off, he was also completely alone on this trip. Having someone with you on any nature expedition increases the chances of survival exponentially. Even if a partner isn't able to help directly, they can at the very least call for help. Ethan, however, didn't have that option. All he could do was keep his calm and keep swimming toward the shore.
Like a spotter, when you bench press, you should have went with somebody. That's definitely, don't go into the woods by yourself, people. Come on, son. You know, like my man at Level would say, come on, son. But you got to be smarter than that, man. Like, even like, all right, the movie 187, what is it? 187 hours, something like that, where he falls into the ravine and he gets stuck. All that type of stuff. Don't go off somewhere far and deserted by yourself, man. It's not a good look.
With all his energy. Fortunately, this worked. After a brief but intense struggle, he was able to find the underwater ledge and make it out relatively unharmed. And while his determination and level-headed approach certainly helped, his surviving the incident was nothing short of incredibly lucky.
God bless him.
Excuse me? What are you doing?
I'm taking photos of bugs.
Why are you taking pictures?
In May 2017, 45-year-old Richard Wesley was out bow hunting in Ontario, Canada, when he
Right, this is the last one, yeah.
suddenly came face to face with the last animal you want to see in the wilderness, a bear. He initially tried to lay low in the bushes and hoped the bear would walk away without noticing him. Unfortunately, he was in a wide open area, resulting in the bear seeing him and coming toward him. One of the only options he really had left at this point was to run away, which, considering a bear's top speed of up to 35 miles per hour, or roughly 55 kilometers an hour, wasn't really possible. Or he could stand his ground and try to scare the bear away before it got too close, because if the bear actually decided to attack, Richard would have no real way of winning that fight.
That's fast, man. A car going 35 miles an hour, built like a bear. Oh, man.
Black bears can generate a bite force of up to 1,000 psi with their 2.5-inch long teeth, which is enough to easily fracture a human skull or even sever the head completely from the neck. Adult black bears can also weigh up to 600 pounds or 272 kilograms. In other words, once a black bear is on top of you, there's no practical way.
He's spitting facts. He just told you how it was. He said he'll take your head off with one bite.
To get it off. Plus, the weight alone can also cause asphyxiation within seconds. Not to mention the 2-inch long claws that can leave deep lacerations down to the bone. So even if the bear decided to leave Richard alone after a single claw swipe, he would have likely bled out right there before help arrived. With all this in mind, he stood up and tried to intimidate the bear. Unfortunately, this backfired horribly.
I didn't remember what happened, but I just remember, I'll tell you this much, he gets lucky.
Quiet. 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 Quiet.
Oh, man.
Instead of running away, the bear lunged at Richard and slammed into the ground. For a moment, he thought this was the end. But as he was falling down, something exceptionally lucky happened. The wooden bow Richard was holding in his hand got shoved into the bear's jaw. This not only kept the bear from shredding his arm, but biting into the wood also disoriented it enough to make it turn and leave Richard alone. So, despite coming dangerously close to losing his life, Richard was able to walk away with only a few minor bruises. But
because the bear bit the bow, and he bit it so hard he hurt his jaw, he left. Yo, he got lucky. He's lucky. He's just lucky.
while he escaped physical harm, the psychological impact of this attack on him and his family was significant. As he stated in an interview later, "We watched the video footage. My stomach just tightened, and my wife started crying. Instead of admitting that I'm scared, and I probably should have went and talked to a professional about what happened, but I just downplayed it." That said, the experience also left Richard with a far deeper appreciation for the life he has.
All right, people, man. Yo, he's so lucky, man. He was supposed to be barefoot that day. That's wild. Yo, people, I've been on here for 2 hours, man. What I was gonna say, Merry Christmas, man, to anybody. You know, if you came in late, you could go back to the beginning, watch the whole thing, you know, check out some pieces, whatever. You know, God bless all you people, man. It's your boy Spank Dog, aka Puffinstein. Merry Christmas. Salute.